moment that my dog chooses. Sorry, Lizzie, I'm gonna let you take it.
No problem. My dog is deaf, so he doesn't know when people or animals make noises outside and won't bark at us. Welcome everybody to our second spring town hall. I'm glad that you're here. I'll do just like a quick opener for you with a couple of little updates of what we've been working on. But then we'll open the floor. I know we distributed our proposed budgets, our proposed budget for next year, and hopefully you're here to ask some questions. And I'll introduce Doug when I reopen the floor. But if you don't know me yet, my name is Lizzie. I'll be the first president of CNY Rotary for 24-25, and I'm from the Baldwinsville Rotary Club. We've been working on our transition to becoming a new region for almost 2 years now. It's been a long process. A lot of thought and care has gone into how we're building out the team so that we can serve this larger region, and how we've structured the committees so that we can provide the support and resources that our clubs and members are going to need to be successful. So some updates on committee work. You probably heard this update last month too, but it was really new then. We have our brand new service committee and our brand new events committees rolled out. If you visit cnyrotary.org, our website, there's a tab called Get Involved. And under that tab, you'll find a page for each of those new committees where we fully outline the committee's mission and activities, as well as provide job descriptions for every role on that committee. We do have an interim events committee chair, someone who agreed to just be the placeholder and point person until we find a firm chair for the committee, just because we do have to start planning some events for 24-25. But we are looking for chairs for both of those new committees and more members for each of them. There's roles that can be anything from helping us plan one happy hour event in your neighborhood to being the chair of the service committee, which is part of our leadership council and a pretty significant role. We're also looking to fill our treasurer position, which is actually 3 positions. So the role of treasurer seemed like a pretty big job for one person in an unpaid position. And we don't have it in the budget, as we'll get to pay somebody for that. So we decided to divide and conquer, which is something my husband and I do a lot. And that's what we say whenever we have to split up and one has to go to each family on the holidays. We're gonna have a treasurer chair. They're responsible for the reporting. They're the person who attends the leadership meetings. Then we'll have a money in person, and they receive all the monies and do the deposits, and a money out person, and they send out the checks and reimbursements and such. So dividing up the work should make it much easier, but we are looking for people who are qualified. You need to have some kind of financial experience, bookkeeping, banking, accounting, and it has to be something that you enjoy. That's what we ask of all of our volunteers, to take on roles and leadership positions that they'll have a good time doing. And they'll feel good about the service that they're providing to our region, our members, and our clubs. The descriptions for those jobs are also right on that Get Involved tab at cnyrotary.org. So we have all the details out there for you and for you to share with anybody you think would be interested. Maybe none of these sound like the right fit for you, but you know someone else in your club who's super passionate about service, who wants to help plan events for fellow members, or who has that financial background that might be helpful to us. So please take a look at those when you have some time. And then also I would encourage you to connect with us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram at CNY Rotary is our name. And we post a lot of updates and helpful information there too. So I'm going to introduce our finance chair, Doug Larison. He is a past district governor and a member of the Cortland Noon Rotary Club. And he kind of led the team. It was a team effort to put our budget together, and it kind of always will be moving forward. Putting together the budget used to be something a district governor, usually with some help, but kind of did and was responsible for on their own. But that's a big change for us in CNY Rotary, where everything will be a team project. So it doesn't fall on one person for some of these big things. Plus, with it being our first budget, we were bringing together the ideas from our 3 different current districts into one. So, Doug, I'll turn it over to you. If you had anything you wanted to share, we can just open up the floor for questions on the budget.
Great, Lizzie. Thank you very much. You already took half of my speech about
Sorry.
the treasures. No, no problem. We really, really need people to dig down into their clubs. And it may not be people on this call tonight, but we really need people to step forward to be in these 3 treasurer positions. That's going to be key to our financial success as we move forward. Again, as Lizzie said, we really looked at, well, how many checks does 7150 write? How many checks does 7170 write? And we really started thinking that, to have one person do all the billing and all the checks was just way too much for one person, to ask of one volunteer. That's why we divided it into 3. We're hoping that it will be more manageable for the 3 people, but we really need people to step up and say, yeah, I can handle this, and we'll work as a team to make that happen. The budget itself is, again, as Lizzie said, a lot of things. I was on a call earlier with Melissa, and she's got great ideas for public image. She wasn't the public image chair when we created this budget. So, I think you can find a lot of things that aren't funded because we didn't know. What we were trying to do is we were trying to bring together the 3 districts and what they currently fund and trying to fit that correctly into some sort of a budget. The big constraint, obviously, is that we're going to ask our clubs to donate $35 per member. That's down in both 7150 and 7190. 7170 dues were at 3250. So that's an increase for them. But that $35 per capita really capped what we could effectively spend. So, there's lots of room to say, what about this and what about that? I think it's a work in progress, as the budget always is, and that over the next year or 2, we'll probably get things a lot more ironed out so that we really are funding the things that we deem as critical. A lot of money in this budget goes to training your incoming officials for the district so that they can turn around and train you in what all of your needs and aspects as a club. So we tried to do our best. The number one question that people have asked up until this point is, why is there not money in the budget for service projects? And I'll be very candid. I think all 3 districts in the past have really relied on service projects of any sort coming really from the clubs themselves. We're there to support you in that club endeavor of service, to kind of coordinate and things. But we didn't really think that that was something that we could fund at this time. I think in the future, we may see a service line in the budget, and things like that as we move forward. So with that short introduction, if there are questions, I think Lizzie had sent it out earlier this week. If there are any questions specific to the budget, I'd be glad to try to answer those.
Go ahead and just unmute yourself or raise your hand if you have a question. Go ahead, Pete.
And could you do me a favor? Could you just tell me what club you're from so I get a sense of where folks are from, please?
I would ask that we consider the foundation a big part of our service. When we talk about philanthropy in Tully, a lot of our projects raise money to spend money. So those are our service connections. You know, we do a chicken barbecue and we buy scholarships. We have fundraisers. And I would never think about asking the district to pay for it. We have a trees project where we have a golf tournament to support environmental causes. We buy trees for the community. So I mean, maybe we want to go to a service line in the budget, but I don't know if that's an expectation beyond what the foundation does.
Right.
You know, obviously we're looking at new things in the new district, but that would be my 2 cents, not to feel too badly about not having a service line.
Right. Again, Pete, I think that the issue is that some people have kind of felt like as a bigger district, we might try to coordinate a little bit more. And it's not that the service line would necessarily have money that actually paid for the service, but it might be coordination of, things that you do within the district to get a um, bigger bang out of out of a single, event that multiple clubs are doing within the district.
If I can quickly address that, Pete. So let's say you have a large Rotary Club that does this big annual foundation project. And there's a number of smaller clubs around that really don't have much experience working with the foundation or working on projects. If the service committee is aware of the large project, they might be able to say, hey, would you mind inviting Little Club A to join you so that they can get some experience? That kind of stuff. It's not that we're
Yeah,
actually.
I mean, that really makes sense. I thought that was behind the regional foundation grants to get several clubs together in doing a project to help the smaller clubs.
Sure, but so if there's an arm that is aware of some of maybe the traditional things that go on and some of the needs in the community, then maybe we can just help partner people together. That's really all. The service committee is not about, or here's another good example. In the 518, there's 518 day, right? So 518 day is sort of a global or a regional, whatever you want to call it, community service day. So maybe the service committee helps generate some ideas around 518 day and offers some opportunities to the clubs and say, hey, would you like to get involved with something like this? That kind of stuff. It's just really an awareness factor.
Yeah, I think a service committee is very much needed. Liz, you said the other day, we can't believe we haven't had one, but um, clubs coming together to share their good ideas is certainly something that you can support. I just don't know the financial component behind that.
I having been part of the transition action group, and I know some of you are on here too that were part of it. Some of the ideas were around also celebrating service with awards and recognition. That might be something that costs money. And didn't make it this first go round, but certainly something as a president I could see using discretionary funds for in year one, depending on how together we can get this committee for next year. They have to be a up and functioning committee if they're gonna do an awards program. So, another thing too that, we try to factor in is that training, like Doug said, that's what a lot of this is for. And so if there's opportunities for someone on the service committee to receive training.
Yeah, I mean,
support that.
I could see us pooling our Paul Harris points and doing something like that for a service award ceremony.
Oh, that's a
I
great
don't
idea,
know.
Pete.
I think a lot of us have points that we could donate. We do that in Tully when we get a community member honored for Citizen of the Year. We donate points, but that would make a nice award for
Very
service.
nice. Very nice idea. Thank you.
Other questions? Yes, sir. Roberto? You're muted.
Yeah, I think it's just unmuted. So thank you for the information on the budget. Um, I remember getting something a few weeks back from Whitney, who was our outgoing district governor, and congratulations on the new CNY. But they were wanting a vote on the budget. Is there a vote on this new budget?
There will be a vote on the budget. We're going to send out electronic information later in April, and you will have the opportunity to vote one vote per club. So the clubs have to decide who in their club is actually going to cast that vote, and then we'll take votes. And I believe the dates we've set would be for late April, May, so that we have everything done in early May. Good question. Thanks.
Yeah, so is that an in-person vote, or, because I thought previously it had been an in-person vote, or is this going to be an electronic vote?
This will be an electronic vote because, you know, the size of the new district
It's huge.
maybe is making it a little prohibitive to do an in-person vote. I think a number of the districts have had in-person votes before. But with COVID, I think several of us went to electronic votes.
So Doug, should this be the job of the outgoing president, or who should be it, or to the treasurer? What is your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't think that CNY should dictate that. I think clubs pretty much should handle who actually is in charge of the voting, because I know in my club, we always take it to the board of directors. And so the outgoing president and the incoming president both are aware of what the directors are saying. So it doesn't matter, but it's really a club decision about who actually cast that vote.
Thank you very much, Doug. And I forgot to say I'm with the Southern Rensselaer County Rotary.
Great, thank you.
And Roberto,
Any-
the email that went out with the budget went to president, secretary, and president-elect. And those are the same people who are going to receive the information about the electronic voting.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions at all? Yes, Dave? And again, there you are.
Hi, thank you for taking my question, and I'll toss this out to Doug or Lizzie or Melissa. I'm on the board of the Glens Falls Club, but I'm also the AG for several clubs in the Northeast area. And I wanted to sort of do a follow-up to Roberto's question on this whole issue of voting. I have scheduled and planned to meet with each of my clubs to discuss the budget. And I know the presidents have received it. But in a couple of conversations I've had regarding the budget, I just want to be a little better prepared to answer questions before, and I know they certainly have access to you folks if they have questions as well. But one of the things that jumps out, and we've all been through the budgeting process for clubs or at the district level. I've coordinated several district conferences over the past years. The number that jumps out on this budget is the district conference costs. And it would be helpful if we could understand a little bit, because every budget you put together is always based on a whole slew of assumption sets, right? We know that. And things can change. But is there a way you could share with us a little bit of the background thinking and the assumption sets you put into that? Because some of the early takeaways when you look at the budget, and there was a lot of emphasis at pets about this, but we really want to invest in the members, and we really want to help the clubs excite and attract new members. And then part of that investment is giving the new members opportunities to learn about Rotary and train. But when you look at that line item and then compare that to how much we've actually allocated to training, there's a really huge gap there. So help me explain some of the rationale, to my clubs anyway, on some of the thinking that went into it.
Well, Dave, it's a great question, because one of the things that perhaps is not necessarily clear on the budget is when you look at that $100,000 for the district conference, that's a pass-through account. That does not reflect any of the budget items that are in the district budget. That is what's funded by the $35 per capita for the year. That is what do we think's going to happen with the district conference? How many room nights are there going to be? How much money is spent for food? All of those things that go into the district conference. And basically, we're looking at that as a pass-through. If we only collect $600 or $60,000, that's all that's going to be spent. That will depend on the number of people that actually attend. Now, we were just, Lizzie and some other of us were just looking at the contract for next spring. And it looks like we're going to be pretty close to this $100,000 figure with what are the room costs, the hotel costs, the food costs, all that kind of stuff. But that's all going to be basically pass through money, which means members are going to pay for their district conference. They're going to pay for the room nights, and that's going to, I think that's a big number in my mind. I was kind of shocked when I saw it, but with 3 districts coming together, the number of people we anticipate going to the district conference, we're going to have a bill of about $100,000. And I think that that's reasonable. And I mean, Lizzie can talk to it. We've been hammering about numbers to making sure that we didn't require too many room nights or too much on the food or too much in any of those areas, to make sure that we do that. So my bottom line is, if what the conference cost is $80,000, not $100,000, that's what's going to be reflected on this line, because it's basically a pass through. What we collect is what we're going to send out. Does that answer your question, Dave?
In part, Doug. Yeah, thank you. I mean, I've done 3 of these myself, so I understand the whole thought process, but it gets a little more challenging, obviously, when you're bringing 3 districts together. But I guess I'm looking for a little more detail in those assumption sets. Like, what is your assumption on how many people you believe are going to sign up and come to the district conference? One of the differences this year, or next year, I should say, is that there's going to be a lot further distance for people to travel, right? That's just a variable that it isn't, is different for all of the previous districts. And we also have a membership number that we hope holds true based on your budget here. It could get better if we're all successful in attracting more members. But at the end of the day, there's still a set of assumptions in there that would be helpful if I could understand them a little more, to be able to explain to some of these smaller clubs,
Sure.
in my area, to be able to say, listen, I think I can convince people that there was a lot of work and effort that went into this. And it's a complicated process, but a little more data might be helpful. I guess that's all I'm asking.
Lizzie, I'm going to ask you if you feel comfortable giving some of that, because I know you were the one that was really spearheading a lot of those assumptions about the district conference that I think are well within the scope of what we should be able to do.
Yeah, so Dave, the typical number you see at a district conference is 10% of your membership. So we would hope we would have 300 people at conference next year. That's like a really reasonable goal for us. And then we know we also have our youth exchange students on top of that. So we like to have our inbound and outbound students present. And so it's really that $100,000, it's just a guess. as Doug said, whatever it ends up being is what we'll collect and then pay out to the conference location. But that $100,000 is not dues money, it's not members' money, it's people who are signing up for conferences money.
How much did you anticipate you were gonna get out of sponsorships, Lizzie?
I don't know. We haven't set that goal yet. I expect that we'll have our first conference committee meeting later this month once we get this contract signed with our conference dates and location locked in.
Okay.
But Whitney has agreed to take the lead on them, so hopefully lots of sponsorships.
Okay. Yeah, because they're clearly offsets, right? I mean, we
Right.
know that. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Right.
that would be wonderful to help keep the cost down for members. Things like food and AV are just get more and more expensive each year. And you're kind of beholden to your venue that you have to use their services. They have large administrative markups on everything. And so, yeah, definitely want to find some sponsors who support Rotary and support our members coming together for fellowship and education and have them help us offset that cost.
Great. So could you similarly address the rationale that you used on how you funded training?
Well, the training issue is, we really looked at who the biggest cost in training for us is sending people to the zone training. And we had much grander ideas about who would be sent to zone training when we initially started the whole budget process, but we really pared it down. And in the future, I guess what I'd like to see is that the incoming president have much more authority over who they think should go to zone training versus what the zone necessarily says. I mean, the zone would like you to send, person A, B, C, D, E, and maybe that's appropriate and maybe it's not. Um, if you've had somebody that's the foundation chair that's been to zone for the last 10 years, does that person really take priority funding wise over somebody who maybe is brand new in public image that we really think should go? But I think that's one of the places we'll probably end up going with our budget, is giving more flexibility to the incoming president about who he or she thinks should go. But right now we'll basically funding, the typical spots of foundation chair, membership chair,
Right.
that group.
Okay.
And again, that's trying to look at what did the 3 previous districts do, and let's just continue down that path.
Well, as you all fully understand, I think all the clubs are challenged and struggling with budgets, bringing in members. Many clubs are having to consider raising dues because the costs of everything are going up just to function as a club. And so the dues burden becomes an issue in making membership attractive or affordable, let's say. But then if you carry that out and you look at giving our members training opportunities, whether it's through RLI, whether it's through district training assembly or whatever, those become additional cost burdens on top of whatever other members are already paying. So, and I know I'm going to get some pushback on that. So that's why I'm trying to be able to think rationally about how do we continue to support, the development and the excitement around Rotary. And that's in a huge way, partly through how we train people and
Right.
get them engaged, right? So
I agree. So this year we should see a plethora of people at the district training assembly on Saturday because it's no charge.
Free, $0.
So, and Dave, I also want to point out that at least for 7190 and perhaps for 7150. At least for this year, club dues are going down by about, is it $5 or $10?
$5.
$5, yeah,
$5.
right.
So I know that we have a larger team to look at. And because this is going to be the first year that the team is really working together, sending as many of the leadership as we can to zone training and things like that, I think is going to be particularly important for at least this year. And then as we go through the process, again, as Doug said, it can be up to the president to make that determination. You know, if I've been a public image chair for 5 years, do I need to go to public image training, or would it be better for somebody, you know, a committee member to go, or
Sure. Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
We've also got plans for this fall too, and I think this is a little bit more coordinated than we've all been able to be in the past. Also because we're having bigger committees than we've had in the past. But when that person from the committee comes back from zone, there will be a scheduled committee training where they will download and share what they've learned at zone to really maximize that investment of sending someone to training. So yes, I'm very, thanks Christine, very excited about that. Because when you go to zone, it's very energizing, it's very inspiring. You get so much knowledge and you just learn all these things, like it blows your mind. And so you want to run home and tell everybody. And so we're gonna make sure that we schedule a meeting for that.
Sure. Well, and again, listen, I'm not quarreling with any of that. I
Sure.
fully understand the value of that, especially from a leadership point of view. We want to continue to grow and develop leaders. The perspective that I'm coming at it from is, and I think as a new district, and there are going to be a lot of things we're going to have to deal with and think through, but one of them is, how do we continue to invest in new Rotarians in the district and support the clubs to make it more affordable to access available professional training? I mean, when you think about it, there's a lot of people that we think we could really help get more involved in Rotary, but we have a few barriers. And if we could put our heads together and figure out how to way to fund more of that and make it free or make it far less costly, sure, there's going to be a trade-off. There's going to be a commitment of personal time on the part of everyone to make that investment. But if we can create a way to make it even less or more affordable, I think that's a worthy endeavor. That's all.
We
Deb,
do have,
Deb had a question.
I know Deb wants to answer Dave's question, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Part of
So
it.
I was gonna say, we do have a couple people on the call tonight that I know can speak to some of those resources for you, Dave. You know, definitely expect us to be utilizing our CNY Rotary Zoom account we're gonna set up soon to host webinars and helpful sessions for our members. Kimmy Talbot is here. She's gonna be our membership chair. One of the membership committee's first activities is to put together a new member orientation monthly program that clubs from throughout CNY can send their new members to attend, and it'll be high level Rotary IQ type of stuff. Obviously, you'll still need to acclimate them to your club and your club's activities. But we want to, you know, help out. That's an area of member retention and member engagement that some clubs struggle with. So that was a activity that's going to happen very early on in CNY Rotary. So that's a resource coming to your clubs. But Deb Glisten is our trainer, soon to be called our learning chair. We'll have to all get used to that.
Oh, no, I'll have to change my sign.
I know. I think I did your name badge correctly though.
Oh, there you
So
go.
Deb, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just want to, because it came up, David mentioned Rotary Leadership Institute, and that's going to be changing a bit too. For our area, we have our multi-district pets 4 districts, so it will be 2. So with Rotary Leadership Institute, though, we're going to still be local. We're still going to have 3 different areas over in this district, so that people don't have to travel too far or they can travel, you know, as far as they want to. But this year we've had, even though COVID is hopefully behind us, we've had a lot of success with the Zoom sessions, and those are $25. And we just, in the fall, we had one big one on a Sunday to try that out. We also just had 2 sessions, which were 2 nights each. And they've been very well attended. And so that's economical. Not my favorite, because I still liked people to be face to face with each other. But knowing that we will still, for this area, have 3 different locations, we're not going to put it down to being 1 for District 7180. We're going to allow it to be more. We also have a new chair coming in, and he and I have already been talking about, we have to lower our expenses for that as well. You know, we really need to make sure that we do it in a more cost-effective way. And so we're working on different things, because everybody pays dues, and we want to make sure that that dues to RLI is really put to the best use possible. So we've been talking about that right along. The other aspect, we have multi-district pets, and this year we really pushed that if your president-elect can't come, send someone from your club. From my club, the president was out of town. Our newest Rotarian came, and at least, you know, she got to learn things. But I can also tell you that with Pets Alliance for the country, my plan is to do some webinars with that would be open to anyone, not just to your committee, so to speak, for pets. So those things, once they get online, then they're free of charge.
Great.
Thanks, Deb.
Yep.
Christine, go ahead.
I had to unmute there for a second. All that I have to just say, as much as I love in person, I feel like having a virtual option, especially for, I'm thinking some of our members that have younger children and strange schedules, I'm so grateful. I know it's not the ideal way, but I would toss out there maybe a consideration to record 1 or 2 and then make available, just so that they're readily accessible throughout the year at different times as well. But I'm really excited by some of this. So
Thanks, Christine from Eastwood
Thank you.
Rotary. Yeah, so at Pets, we recorded all of the keynote speakers, and those will get posted on the Empire Pets website, which is RotaryEmpireMDPets.org, and shared out on their Facebook pages. This Saturday at our district training assembly, we have 4 general sessions: Foundation, DEI, Public Image, and Membership. And those will also be recorded and posted on our website afterwards, and posted to our YouTube channel. So you'll be able to refer back to those. And yeah, I imagine as we implement things like the new member orientation that'll be held virtually, we can record those, put them on our YouTube channel, you know, create a playlist for learning opportunities. Certainly gonna start building a bank of things for clubs to choose from. They'll make great programs for when someone cancels on you at the last minute.
So Lizzie, we should probably put a link to the Empire State, you know,
Drop that in the chat.
videos that are going to be on their
Oh,
site.
Yes,
Make our site the site that pizza people come to
yes,
for all the information.
we can definitely do that.
Great.
Any other questions about budget? It's all yours, Lizzie.
Any other questions about anything CNY Rotary? Yeah, Roberto.
I think I'm on again. We were on the SRC Rotary again. I'm surprised that more people aren't on these calls. So I don't know if it's people somehow lost the link. I had our treasurer call us just 5 minutes before the call, and he wasn't aware of this going on. I know you guys do a super job of trying to get the information out, but like I said, for the impact on us with the new CNY, I'm just surprised that more people aren't on.
You and me both.
Yeah, we always are. We hear from folks that there's lots of questions, lots of people wondering what's going on and wanting updates. And then it's usually crickets at the town hall with a handful of members, but I appreciate that you're here.
So there are really three opportunities for people to kind of ask the questions. We did a presentation at Multi-District Pets earlier in the month. We've got this particular one today. I'm sure hopeful that there will be a number of people at the district training assembly on Saturday where, you know, potentially they could get questions answered there as well.
I would suggest if you're doing a mailing, as you talked about, for every club to vote on the budget, that in each of those mailings, you include something about, does your club have a representative that is learning about CNY Rotary to help club members understand? We don't need 3,000 people on a Zoom call, but it would be nice if we have 105 clubs to have 105 people on the call. So the idea, I think, in Rotary that your club has a representative to inform it of CNY Rotary, I think that's pretty good. I'm looking at this call. There's two of us from Tully, and a couple of you are from the same club, but that just means there are other clubs that aren't represented. And you know, the same way we say with pets, every club should have a representative. Somebody in the club should take the responsibility of explaining CNY Rotary to the rest of the club members, whether you do that through the AGs or however. That's a good message to get out. We've got 3 months to do it.
Yeah, I think Pete, I'm from Tully Club as well, and with Pete, and I agree. I mean, you got to have somebody from every club who's going to take the lead and bring other people in. And Pete and I found our way here, but it seems like every club should have somebody that says, look, we need to join here or at least share the information back out. I agree 100%.
It's a great idea, Pete. I like that messaging. I'll use it for the May town hall. Judy, to answer your question in the chat, we had 140 registered and walk-ins are welcome. So if you didn't register and you still want to come to district training assembly this weekend, it just means we can't provide you that free lunch, and you'll need to pack a lunch, but you're still welcome to come 10 to 4 at VVS High School in Verona. It's exit 33 off the thruway. And all the details are at cnyrotary.org, but we'd love to see you there. Even if you have to bring your own lunch. We're eating in the high school cafeteria, so it's easy enough. Deb?
I think relative to the number of people that are here, some ways it's a really good sign because people have confidence that things are going in the best possible way they could go. But on the other side of it, I hope that the people that are here are explaining to them that it's not a complaint session. We're really getting and giving information. And so if they really do have a question, they should plan to come to the next one. But like I said, I hope that the people here will share that out, because this team, I mean, I joined the team late on because I was busy with Pets Alliance, but they've been working so hard on this and really are working out a lot of the things that could have been kinks. And I appreciate that, but you have to be the salespeople for them as well. If somebody has a question, they shouldn't sit on it and let it fester. They need to bring it to the group.
We do have on the cnyrotary.org, there's a FAQs page. And on the FAQs page, there's a really simple form that you can use. If you have a question that maybe feels uncomfortable to ask in the group, maybe it feels controversial in some way, but you'd love to know the answer, you can submit your anonymous question through that form and we will gladly answer it at the next town hall. We understand not everybody's comfortable speaking up in the group as well, so. Roberta. Oh, you muted yourself. There you go.
Really appreciate Deborah's comments. And I gotta say that having just gone to the district pets conference, and I went as president-elect and somebody else attended to find out what was going on. the leadership in that conference alone and the leadership with everybody, Lindsay, everybody that's putting this together is just amazing. I can't imagine the amount of hours that have gone into it. Just can't imagine. And I came away from the district pets and just so enlightened of what all the work that people were doing together to try to make Rotary a better organization. So my comments a while ago were not to be bitching. It was to say, why aren't other people getting involved in this and learning more about what's really going on and all the effort that's going on to make the CNY work.
Well, thank you so much for that, Roberto. I'm glad that you had a good pets experience, because we put a lot of work into that too. But yeah, I think the main thing whenever anybody has a concern or a question, or they're like, well, why are we going to do it this way or that way? The thing we want to stress is how people from all over CNY, people from the 3 outgoing districts were part of every planning process. All of the decisions that we've made have been a joint decision. That's how it's going to be moving forward. So it's all been good practice for us to be working as a team, really. And just a lot of care has gone into it. But it's also done with the humility of knowing that it's not going to be perfect, and we're going to have to make tweaks and changes as we go along. As we experience our first district training assembly this weekend, we'll be able to evaluate afterwards, was this a successful event in terms of participation, accessibility, and what people were able to take away from it, and what will we want to do maybe differently next year to continue to improve upon it. So we also ask for patience moving forward, and we won't take any of your feedback as complaining, because if you're here giving feedback, it's because you care, and we appreciate that.
Spoken like a great leader, Lizzie.
Ah,
Sorry, I just had to chime in. I love the collaborative way that all of this has come together. And so I echo, I wasn't able to be at Pets, but I will tell you that our Eastwood Rotarians that were there came back on fire and really excited and rejuvenated, right? So, Roberto, I don't know if for me, the ancillary effect of having members engage like this is that they get really excited and they bring that back to the club. So I'm also echoing the gratitude for the way that this has moved forward, as kind of a newbie to Rotary, right? Not even a decade in. It's obvious that it's been done with all of the members in mind. So you can feel that on the other end of all your hard work.
thanks, Christine.
Yeah, Lizzie, I would echo that. I happen to go to Pets as well, and I've been to several of them over the years, but this was by far one of the most inspiring and enriching from all kinds of different levels. I took away the one thing I took away that I've been using now, which I thought was brilliant in regard to how do we make Rotary irresistible? And that tagline in itself is inspiring, right? It makes you think deeply about what possibilities we can achieve. And I know it's a challenge. And part of the issue we all struggle with is why don't we get more participation in things that we collectively here tonight are all excited about? How do you inspire other people to feel the same excitement? And we're living in a world where there's only so much bandwidth, right? I guarantee you that probably scores of our members across this new district are on Zoom calls right now, simultaneously, for some other reasons. So I think we have to also be realistic about what we think we can attract given the amount of time that people have available. But I think the work you've done to at least create the new district website and fill that with quality updated information is a great starting point. And for people who, we all touch media and communications in ways we prefer. So you've got the website, you've got Facebook, you've got Instagram. We have other platforms. I just wrote one down tonight I wasn't even aware of. And so the challenge is how do we get all that content out there simultaneously and allow people to access it in ways they prefer, right? And I know that's a challenge, but I know you guys have done amazing work in getting us where we are now. And you'll continue to do that. But I give you kudos for all you've done to get what you have done out to everyone. And at a certain level, some of it is an individual responsibility to go access some of this hard work that you folks have put in too. So that's going to be my message to my clubs for sure. If you want to know, it's there. Just take a minute and go look for it.
Thanks, Dave. And I will add, there is a new feature on the website. We haven't launched it wide yet, so you might not have noticed it. But if you go under Get Involved, there's a line for CNY Rotary Leadership. And under that sub-menu, you'll see a new org chart that contains all of the people in all of the roles and their contact information thus far. So there's an expanded org chart now available with contact information. And also links to the job descriptions for the open positions. So go ahead and take a look at that and see if anything jumps out at you. Deb?
I want to do my commercial right now, though. And I'm preparing for Saturday to do the commercial a few times. But I would really love to have more people on the training committee. Now I see the competition is here as well, membership and public image and DEI. But I know a lot of you people are very good with doing training and learning. And so please let me know if you're at all interested in helping in any way. It may not be that you want to be up in front of everyone and actually facilitate, but anyway, please let me know. We're open for everyone. Thank you.
Lizzie, I would add that there, I don't know if everybody on the call realizes that one aspect of Central New York Rotary that's already very active is the youth exchange. And I don't know if the people on the call are youth exchange clubs or not, but my experience, I think Deb is on the committee as well, has been that there is a learning curve when we come together with three different experiences. And we saw that with RILA when we were looking at combining RILA. So there's lots to do and lots to know. So, every club should have somebody that's figuring out what's happening. And the important thing is, with the youth exchange committee, we get on a call together and we said, oh, gee, we didn't figure that how to do that. So let's work together and train ourselves on how to move it forward. And I think there'll be a lot of that, and the camaraderie that comes from that kind of learning together through the next year, I think is going to build a stronger district across the whole region.
Thanks, Pete. Yeah, Youth Exchange was the first committee to really be functional because they had to start recruiting their outbound students last fall. And they are going to have all the inbound and outbound students at district conference later this month. You can still register to attend district conference April 26th through the 28th in Binghamton at the Doubletree. Go to cnyrotary.org and you'll see a big banner that says see you there. And you can click on that to go and learn more and to register. It's really a great value this year, thanks to some sponsors. And there's a lot of great speakers. You can see your speakers and all your breakout session topics that'll be available throughout the weekend right online. But you can interact with the
just the
exchange
fact that we have
students.
28 kids coming in next year. 28 is a great number.
Yes.
I mean, since the pandemic, it's been low. And we're sending out 17, which I thought was a good number to expect because the number has been low the last couple of years. But 28 kids in the district with Rotary Youth Exchange, I think all over all three of our districts is going to be a great experience for everybody.
Yep.
And you can learn more about our youth programs at District Training Assembly as well. They'll have a breakout session with Zoran Bullock, our Youth Exchange Chair, just to update you on what's going on with Youth Exchange Program. And Rocky Martinez, past District Governor Rocky, will be there to talk about RILA and Interact. Both of which need help for next year. All right, we just have a couple minutes left. Any final questions? It's been lovely to see you all. Thank you to all the leaders who were here. Pam Baxter, our DEI chair, Elise, our current district governor for 7150, Melissa, our soon-to-be public image chair, and she's been our leader on our steering committee all this time. We've got, oh, did Kimmy leave? Oh, we had our membership chair here, of just Deb, our trainer. And then Doug answering our questions as our finance chair. Oh, there's Kimmy. Hi, Kimmy.
I'm still here.
Oh, good. And Bob Bulk is our president nominee. And he's here as well. So thank you all for being here. We appreciate your participation. As Pete said, be an ambassador to your club and let them know that the May event is where they can come next for questions, or maybe we'll see you on Saturday. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks
Have
for
a
your
great
time,
night.
everybody. Have a
Good
great
night. Thank you. Great job.
Great
Thanks,
seeing
Dave.
you all.